Welcome to Legal and Wealthy, the podcast for lawyers who are ready to stop playing small and start building true wealth and a career and life of their dreams, powerfully and purposefully. Whether you're a law student, new associate, or seasoned attorney, this show is for those who are ready to take charge of their law career in a new way. I'm your host, Lauren Klein, attorney, law firm owner, professor, and founder of Legal and Wealthy. Here, we don't just practice law, we practice liberation and becoming wealthy attorneys. Because being a great lawyer shouldn't come at the cost of your time, your peace, or your financial freedom. Every week, you'll get the strategy, mindset, and wealth building guidance that law school never gave you. So you can go from just surviving your career to building a legacy through it. Let's get to work. Welcome back to the Legal and Wealthy podcast. This is one of those really fun episodes where I get to just sit down with a friend and you just get to see the normal conversation that we would be having. But I'm so excited for you to be here with us today. I think today's theme is really going to be about what if protecting your wealth isn't about fear, it's about strategy, because I really think that insurance and risk management, which we're going to be talking a lot about today, is such a huge aspect in building your wealth. So excited to be sitting down with my dear friend, Ciara Gravier. She is the founder and CEO of The Bunker Insurance and Risk Management. I still love your name. Every time I read it, I'm like,
cool?
It's such a good, it's just a good name.
It's cool, yeah.
It's just a good name. Ciara helps middle market companies protect their businesses with thoughtful, strategic risk solutions. You have over 15 years. You're way too young. How do you have over 15 years of experience in the industry, and specializes in commercial property and casualty insurance with a strong focus on professional lines, including attorneys. You are one of the top 1% of insurance agents nationwide. Okay, I love it. I love it. But before we dive into really how do we protect ourselves as attorneys, what are the things that we need to think about? I want to share something special with you. So two people that we are both very, very close to wanted to leave you a little note before we dive in. So Romy and Nicole wanted to share something. So this one is for Romy first. Romy says, Ciara is one of my favorite people on earth and one of the best people I know. She's all the things: smart, funny, the biggest heart. What I find incredible about Ciara is she has such a unique and special gift of making everyone around her feel welcome and ease. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. She goes above and beyond for the people lucky enough to be in her orbit. She's the realist. She's a true entrepreneur with grit and determination. She's always learning. She's always educating herself to be the best resource for her clients and peers. She is an exceptional leader in her industry, in the daily drip, and her community. She makes you want to be the best version of yourself.
Oh my God, I'm going to cry.
And is ready to support you to do it. So that was Romy. And then from Nicole, if we're really going to start crying, Ciara is incredibly intuitive. She really knows how to read a room and read in between the lines, which I think many women and leaders can do. But what gives her an edge is she knows what to do with that information. She really knows how to leverage it, whether it's help in her sales, in collaborating in really innovative and strategic ways, supporting her network by connecting with the right people at the right time, or just really being a good friend that shows up with what you need when you need it. It's her superpower. Such a powerful reflection of who you are. So welcome to Legal and Wealthy.
Wow. I mean, what am I going to say after that? It's funny that you said like, we're going to have so much fun. And I bet the people didn't expect insurance to be the next thing after fun. It's never fun. Thank you. That was so sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that introduction. I mean, what else can I say?
We all love you.
Well,
we all love you so much.
Having a group of women around you like yourself, like Romy and Nicole, it really has changed me. So I can't take all the credit for all that nice stuff because it's...
Yeah, you can.
No, but I'm a good person. I'm not a bad person, but it's hard to own a business and be yourself. So when you're encouraged and received well to do so, it's, I'm very fortunate. So thank you.
This episode of Legal and Wealthy is brought to you by Law Firm Sites. Law Firm Sites has been building custom websites and providing online marketing for law firms for over 23 years. They are good at what they do because that's all that they do. If you are looking to expand the reach of your firm or just improve your online presence, Law Firm Sites has the team to do it. Go to lawfirmsites.com or call 1-800-932-8242 and mention Legal and Wealthy to receive 10% off any of their website or marketing packages. Well, we're all fortunate to have you in our lives. So let's start at the beginning. Insurance is not always, the space people grow up dreaming about, but it is an incredible way to help people. And you've built a truly wonderful business and career. How did you first get into insurance and why?
So it's funny if you'd probably never be at an insurance conference, but when the question's always asked, did anybody go to school? And this is changing a little bit because now there's like risk management programs in schools, and universities and stuff. But for the longest time, it was very rare. And it's like, who went to school for insurance? And crickets. Wow. And it's like, who needed a job so they got into insurance? And like 20% of the room raised their hand. And then it's like, whose family was in insurance and you didn't have a choice? And the rest of the room just raises their hand. It's usually not a first choice. Wow. And it wasn't for me. My parents worked in corporate America all of their life. My mom worked for Equifax for 30 plus years. Wow. It was like her first job out of high school. Wow. And my dad worked at UPS as an executive for international packages. And at 47, he was just done working for corporate America, working for someone else, and never sold insurance, never owned a business. And we had some friends that had an insurance agency, and he just kind of picked their brain. And at the time, Allstate was, had very attractive packages to come and, own an Allstate office. And so they took money out of their 401k and they did it. And so wild. And the rest is history. We're here. They opened multiple locations. We realized though, when we would go on all the trips, we realized, wait a minute, everybody that owns an Allstate office owns what's known as an independent agency on the side. Because when you're writing with Allstate, like State Farm, like many, they're known as captives, you can only represent them. If you're an independent agency, you have the liberty of representing whoever you want to offer. And then you have options. And so at the time, people would still come into the office. My parents' Allstate was downstairs and I opened up the independent upstairs. Oh, no way. So if somebody's auto insurance went up 25%, instead of going somewhere else, he'd say, well, my daughter has an agency upstairs. She has 5 options for you. Oh my gosh. My dad would walk them upstairs. And so
that's so brilliant.
But I was mad for a really long time. I was going to the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale for interior design, and I was upset. I was mad. Insurance is not what I wanted to do, ever. And so, but here we are. And so we sold those 2 offices and I opened my own. I opened the Bunker. I went from hating it to owning my own agency now. In 2019, I opened from scratch to with 0 clients.
That's amazing.
6 months before COVID. So.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And how was the transition into starting the Bunker?
When we knew we were going to sell that agency, I told my dad, okay, well, I guess I'll just go get a job. Like, it's fine. This is your guys' opportunity. You risked it all. You worked so hard. This is for you guys. You've earned it. I'm so young. I have the rest of I'll just go get a job. And he had prepared me. He always told me, if this is going to be your career, get educated. So I have the designations. He said, get prepared, get educated. So you have options if ever. He's like, you always need a plan B. Always have it there. And I listened. So I knew that I could get a very cushy job in insurance and just do just fine. And then, but he told me when we were talking about selling, and I was like, don't worry about me. I'll just go get a job. And he was like, no, we're not. You're not doing that. We've done it twice. We could do it a 3rd time.
I love that.
And you're going to do it. And I was like, all right, let's do it then. We just didn't expect the world to come to a halt 6 months later, but we survived.
Wow.
Aged a little, but we survived.
Oh my gosh. I mean, what did that mean for the insurance space, COVID?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, with the businesses shutting down, right? There's some businesses that just couldn't afford to keep their staff, pay their rent. The only option was to close. Yeah. And so even like from a workers' comp perspective, if you don't have employees, a lot of businesses are like, why am I paying this insurance if I don't have any employees? They're not working. So it caused, It was tough, but I was almost in a better spot than having to deal with like the cancellations and the closures of the businesses. It just took me longer to grow. It took me longer to
Yeah.
like, you're not talking to anybody. We weren't networking, we weren't doing anything. And so I used the time to get educated. I
Yeah.
hired a mentor. I joined a sales program. I got my cyber designation. So I made the best of the time just getting better at my craft. So
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And what would you say? I mean, after going through that, having a brand new business, going through a global pandemic, and then coming out the other side, what do you think the biggest thing or lesson that you learned during that period was?
you know, that community matters. The people
Yeah.
you surround yourself with, um, not in the good times, but in the hard times,
Mm,
right? Anybody could be next to you for the good times, but the people that are there for you um, during the struggle and sharing in the struggle with you matters. And I
yeah.
think that you probably heard it when you were younger. My parents always told me, be careful who you associate with, right? Like that's always a thing,
Yeah.
and you turn into like the three people you're around the most, that whole energy. I think it's the same thing because there's a lot of people that were also feeling the weight of everything, tough times. They were tough times, but
Yeah.
there's people that had the mindset of, oh my God, everything's over. And there's people that had the mindset that were like, well, we need to pivot, or this is an awful situation, but there's also opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, thankfully, I was closer to this side rather than the side that was like, crushed by it. And so I think that that taught me early on that, your support group and your circle really does matter. And it has an impact and
Yeah.
an influence on you, whether you believe it or not. It really does.
No, I mean it's so true because if you're kind of spitballing ideas
Right.
or thinking about pivoting and everyone around you is like, no, that's an awful idea. Here's what could go wrong.
Right.
Don't do that. You might still go do that thing, but it's going to be a lot harder as opposed to people being like, no, here's what you should do. Here's the mistakes I made, learn from
Hmm.
me,
Hmm.
or well, maybe think about it this way, or just bet on yourself,
Right.
you know?
Well, I know you're big into the space of mindset. And so it's like when you have someone that is so like, and again, those were unprecedented times, right? None
Yeah.
of us had ever lived through it. So it's,
Yeah.
if you were someone that was affected in that way, it's unfortunate, but like,
Yeah.
it's just that the mindset of try until it works.
Yeah.
Right. And thankfully, again, I was fortunate enough to be surrounded by people that were like, no, see, you got this. Like, you only fail if you stop.
Yeah. It's true. And
It
I
might be,
think
it might
that's the
take you
hardest
it might
part.
take you longer than you
Yeah.
thought, but that's okay.
Yeah.
You're
I
not
think
giving
that's
up.
the
Yeah.
hardest part. You don't give up, you don't stop. You keep your eye on what's happening. You don't
Sure.
put your head in the sand, but you don't stop.
Right.
And that's if you can do that part, just
Hmm.
keep going,
Hmm.
you'll
And it
succeed.
sounds really cliche, but
It
it is
does.
so true.
I
I
know.
can't. That's also probably something that I've learned that I always talk about too. It's like I think in these 6 years of owning the bunker, I've realized that like all the cliche sayings that you hear, they couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah.
They are so true. Like, you know, about your mindset, about the way you talk to yourself, what you think of yourself.
Yeah.
You dress up to feel better. Like all of those things actually they're true.
They're
They're
true.
true. And I
Yeah.
experienced it for sure during that time. Even like I had to run an office space.
Mm,
Like I just couldn't continue just being on the couch with a
yeah.
laptop. Like
Yeah.
from a mindset perspective. No, I had to like have a routine, show up,
Yeah.
get dressed, even if it was me alone there.
Yeah.
Like those little things really do build up and matter.
They really do. Because starting a business can feel really exciting and sexy. And that part, yeah, you can feel the excitement,
Right.
but it's the staying power because that wears
Correct.
off,
Very quickly.
very quickly.
Yeah.
Problems happen, things
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
wrong. What a
You need to pay
small
your
or big,
bills.
got to pay your bills.
You
Yeah,
gotta
it's
pay
the
your
part
bills.
that no one talks about in the beginning where you're like, oh my God, I have to pay my bills. Like, I have a mortgage, I have rent, I have a
Yeah.
car payment, I have a
All these extra
family.
expenses now that you think, oh, starting a business, I'll do this, sign up on Sunbiz, get a website, no big deal. No. Then you realize, well, I need this software. I need this. I need to pay Microsoft. I need a phone. No, it adds up very quickly.
Yeah,
Even without hiring a first employee.
yeah,
It's
it's true.
yeah.
So we were talking before we were recording about the Goldman Sachs program. I'd love to, how did you hear about it and what have you been learning so far?
Yes.
Give us all the wisdom.
I feel like I'm going to become like an evangelist for this program. I have some people in my industry that did it. I have a friend in Dallas that has done it, 2 friends in Minnesota that have done it, and they absolutely raved about it. Um, and I believe one of them did it virtually, and I was kind of afraid of that. And I was like, if it's virtual, I don't know that I could do it. I'm kind of old, so I didn't do any internet school. Like I went to school in person, and
Yes.
that's just the way I learn. I'm not very good at virtual learning. I get distracted very easily, and
Yeah,
so
me too.
yeah, and so when I found out that Miami-Dade College did it in person, and so I was like, okay, now we're talking.
Yeah.
And so I applied, and it's been phenomenal. There's about 40 entrepreneurs in the room locally. What I
Wow.
loved, they told us the first day is it's 57% women.
Oh
And
my God, I
yeah,
love
yeah,
it.
that was super cool. There's
Yes.
over 30 million in revenue in the room. We employ over like
Wow.
400 people in the community. Like it's a big deal.
That's a big
It is a big
deal.
deal. I was so proud of that. And I was like, man, that's a lot of
Wow.
money and a lot of employment.
Yeah.
Fun fact, small business, what the United States considers a small business, it's under 500 employees, which is wild to me.
Wow.
Like
Wow.
I'm a small business.
Yeah.
Where my husband works has 132 employees.
But
We're
that's
not the
still-
same. That's still a small
Wow.
business.
Huh.
And so one of the statistics that they told us, which made me very proud, was that out of there's like over 60,000 small businesses in the United States, and like 6%, I don't remember the exact percentage, but it's something that low create jobs for people.
6%.
Very minimal. It's under the double digits.
Wow.
And so they were like, congratulations,
Wow.
you guys are making an economic impact. And we were just like, that is so fascinating.
That's really cool.
It is really cool, right? To know that you're in that percentage of not only giving back to your community, but making an impact in people's lives. So I
Wow.
digress. I thought that was it was really encouraging. Like we were all like, yeah, we're so
Yeah.
cool.
That is really cool
It
because
is.
and I think in the moments where things feel hard, I think going back to that of okay, we are making a difference.
Yeah.
We are employing team
Opportunity.
members. We're creating opportunities. We're creating culture.
Yeah.
It's
I
really
loved
cool.
it. I loved it. But
Really cool.
we're learning so much about the business of being a business.
Yeah.
Of things that I fell into this ownership by accident. Even my parents, my dad, it was just risky,
Yeah.
and he had enough knowledge to make a decision.
Yeah.
I can't run my business that way. It just feels unnatural to me. I want to know, like, I want to be able to make a decision off of like, not just my gut, but off of like, no, it looked like my history shows that I can handle this decision, and I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to rely on a CPA to tell me. I mean, they're going to guide me, but I just want to have a foundational knowledge
Yeah.
of
Because no one else is going to know your business like you know your
Correct.
business.
correct. And so the program is 12 weeks, intensive, and it's also free. I just have to
Wow.
donate my time.
Wow.
The investment from us is our time, which is
Wow.
incredible. They feed us breakfast and lunch,
Wow.
100% free. Just, you have to be present. And we're learning so much, or how to read a P&L, your balance sheet, income statements, how to test if an opportunity is viable or not. Like, should you go after, should you introduce a new product? Should you offer a new service? What's the market space for that? How many potential customers? How are you going to do it? How much is it going to cost you? Like testing these things.
Wow.
Next week, we're doing forecasting to see 2 years out, would this still be a good opportunity? How many people would you like? Where do you learn that? And yeah, we have ChatGPT, but it's not the same.
Mm-mm.
It's not
No.
the same. So, I think that this is going to be pivotal for my business
Yeah.
for sure,
Yeah.
because I'm already looking at it different. Even it was so exciting. 2 weeks ago, we had a module where it was like, think about the biggest exit for your business.
Mm.
What would it be? And it's funny because all of us were almost embarrassed. We had to write it down
Yeah.
and like put it in an envelope. And it's interesting to see adults in that space like be embarrassed to
Yeah.
dream big.
Ah.
It's interesting.
Wow.
It's interesting.
So they were embarrassed about the dreaming big and allowing themselves to
Yeah.
imagine.
right. Like it's almost like, yeah, right. You're like, but even to ourselves, because then we had to share it with our neighbor, right? Like, okay, well,
Mm.
this is we did an exercise and it had a pyramid and it was like the ground. So it looked like dirt. And then the top of the pyramid was the clouds. And then in the middle. And it's like, okay, what is attainable for you to do this year? Put two initiatives that you can do. You know you're going to achieve these. All right. What is the biggest picture you have for your business? Like sky is the limit. Money's not an issue. Time, knowledge. You can do whatever you want with any resource. And it's like people were like, no, there's no way, and everyone, even in that exercise, you're playing small.
Wow.
Then we had to draw it out on a piece of paper. And I think that was fascinating to me alone. Like that exercise of like, well, why not me? Why not?
Why not?
Why? Who's stopping me?
Yeah.
Fascinating. I know. Do you do that? Have you ever done that?
No. So what did you write?
So in my head, my option or my answer was, well, I'm going to be the next Brown & Brown. I'm going to be bigger than Brown & Brown because they're one of the national largest insurance agencies. Oh, I'm going to be bigger. And the guy next to me goes, really? And I was like, I mean, do you know how big they are? I know you're not in my space, but everybody knows who Brown & Brown is.
Yeah.
And he was like, he goes, why don't you try to become the next Lloyd's? And I was like, what?
Wow.
Never thought of it. I was like, really? Why not?
Why not?
And then I was like, well, compared to Lloyd's, yeah, Brown & Brown's pretty small.
Oh my God.
It blew my mind. And so
Perspective.
I already bought a frame for the picture that I drew out of the vision. And it's like the landscape of Miami, the cityscape of Miami, the skyline. And it's like the beach. And it's like all the people and all of their money inside of the bunker, like underground in the bunker.
Ooh, yes.
And then like I insure all the buildings. And why not? Why not me?
I've never done that exercise. It's almost making me like, oh my gosh, I want to go do it right now.
Right. Why not?
Wow.
It's so powerful to just sit there and think about possibilities. And I've never done that. I'm just head down working.
Yeah.
So
but now you'll have it on the wall.
Right.
Framed.
And you know what? I'm probably not going to be the next Lloyd's of London or Brown & Brown, but it's definitely going to be bigger than anything I've ever dreamt for myself.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating.
So
you like
cool.
Join. You should see if it's in your city. It's been amazing. I can't.
That's really cool.
I can't.
And you said there's lawyers in there.
Yeah, we have two. One is a litigator and one is not. One's a transactional lawyer, and one of them he's on target to make $4 million this year. So you think, what does he need this program for?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But what's he doing with that $4 million?
Right.
What's the next step?
And maybe he wants to make a really big jump.
Right.
That
I feel like every single law firm owner should be required to go through, and I'm talking to myself, should be required to go through something like that, because law school does not teach you how to run a business, how to forecast, how to know your numbers, how to pivot. Everyone's all, a buzz about AI. Like, how are we going to pivot? What are we going to do? What does that mean for the forecast?
Yeah. I'm in the same boat though. Like,
cool.
Being an insurance agent, you get a license. You take a weekend course. So there's no business training.
Wow.
And so I think I also kind of got tired of just running my business as an insurance agent instead of running my insurance agency as a business owner. There's a difference. The decisions that are made are different.
Yeah, but you're doing it.
I'm
you're
looking.
taking the steps.
It feels good finally, because last year I feel like it was a rough year, and even mentally, like I had some realizations that I think I needed to have. But this year, it feels like I'm on the right track. So
it's amazing. That's amazing. Hey, let's be honest. Are you a high-functioning attorney or law student, but kind of low-key exhausted, maybe successful on paper, but secretly wondering, is this it? That's exactly why I created the Wealthy Lawyer Reset. It is a 6-day reset for lawyers and law students who are done with burnout, chaos, money, energy, and just running on fumes. For 6 days, we reset your mindset, your money, and your nervous system, because we cannot build true wealth and have great health if we are living in survival mode. It's just the fact of the matter. And because I am that kind of girl, we end with a virtual yoga session with the Aman Costigan. So you're not just wealthy on paper, you're regulated, grounded, and actually enjoying your life. This is not about hustling harder. It's about recalibrating everything so your wealth and your health can feel calm, aligned, and sustainable. If you're ready to enter your wealthy lawyer era without burnout, join me inside the Wealthy Lawyer Reset. 6 days, one reset, a completely different relationship with money, your health, and your success. Check out the show notes or go to my Instagram to learn more about the Wealthy Lawyer Reset. Love it. So let's pivot and let's talk about, because our listeners are lawyers, many of whom own their own law firms, or many of whom are like, oh, even like hearing this conversation, they might be like, well, what is my exit?
Yeah.
You know, maybe I thought I had to stay safe in this role, but maybe
Right.
I do want to do something
Mhm.
different. What are things that lawyers should be thinking about when it comes to mitigating risk, protecting themselves? Because the way that I look at insurance is it is a piece of your
Sure.
wealth building
Mhm.
toolbox.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people don't think about it
Mm-mm.
that way, but it is.
It
So I'd love to
absolutely is.
hear what would be the advice you give, and what should people really be thinking about when protecting themselves?
So, from a business perspective, I think that risk has a bad connotation, right? Like it's negative in our minds, right? It's always a negative thing. I don't believe that's true, but unknown risk is a negative.
Yes.
So it's like business, right? It's like this exercise I'm doing at Goldman Sachs. A lot of people don't sit there and think about what are the risks that my business faces,
Mm,
right? So, for example, a hurricane for your business, probably it's not a huge risk. I mean, you'd
mm-mm.
be without internet. Okay.
Yeah.
But you don't have the risk of a physical property being damaged where you can't work,
Right.
right? For ex- unlike a restaurant,
Mm,
a hurricane is a major issue,
yeah.
right? Food spoiling, customers, how long can I get back to work? What if my customers can't come, right? Those are
Yeah.
all decisions that cost money.
Yeah.
A hurricane can destroy their business,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
So I think it's necessary for attorneys and all business owners really to sit down and think about that, right? Make a list of like what are the threats or the risks that could stop my business from producing money or close me down.
Mm,
For attorneys, luckily, unless you guys own your building, it's not very property heavy or it's not physical, it's digital.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
cyber is something that is critical, right? The amount of information that you guys house of your clients, financial records, personal information, sensitive information, confidential
Yeah.
documents, figures, right? Dates of birth, driver's license, social, bank accounts. Like it's
Yeah.
never ending, right? What happens if your systems get hacked? Do you have a plan? Who are you
Mm,
talking to? Do you have an IT person to call? Right? Those all of those scenarios, like it's almost like you need to brain dump those possible scenarios and what's the plan B and C. And in somewhere in there needs to be the transfer of that risk. And that's where insurance comes in, right? So
mm,
you pay a premium, you're gonna pay a deductible, and then the carrier, I'm not obviously policy has language and exclusions and things like that. But there are things there, that then that risk is transferred and you're made whole minus your premium and deductible.
mm,
So, from a professional lines standpoint, right, which is we're in that space too, anybody that provides advice, consultations, that type of risk or that type of service, your risk is your advice.
mhm.
It is your legal work.
Yeah.
If someone accuses you of doing it wrong or putting them in a worse position and they want to sue you, right? That's what malpractice insurance is for. So I would encourage anybody that's thinking about going out on their own or already is out on their own and doesn't have any insurance because they don't know,
Yeah.
right? When you get into big law or any law firm, typically, you have all of that set up for you. You don't even have to ask.
Right. You may not even think about it.
You don't even think about it. And I don't know if in law school they talk about it.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Isn't that wild?
No.
That's
Not at all.
wild. Yeah. So it's critical that day one of you starting a law firm, you have insurance in place because that is always going to be your retroactive date, the date
Mm,
you start your law firm or the date you start your coverage.
yeah.
So, and I'm not going to get so technical into it, but that date is very important for the life of your business because
Yeah.
that's the first inception date of where a claim would be covered if one ever did happen.
Mm,
And so, um, don't make the mistake of going out and starting on your own without having a conversation. And I would highly encourage you not to purchase it online either. It's
mm,
quick and it's easy and it's cheap, but there are some risks there. You don't have anybody to talk to. You don't have anybody to ask questions to.
right.
And so we're big advocates. You know, our fields are going through the same thing, right? Where people are
Yeah.
like, well, what do I need to hire an attorney for? I have ChatGPT.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
going through that same thing. And it's more important than ever to, you know, be an advisor and be available to answer the questions.
Yeah. Because I mean, when or if something goes wrong, and if it does not fully protect you, or if there's something that you were not aware of because you didn't talk to somebody, you
Hmm.
didn't explain your business and what
Right.
you're doing and the types of clients you're working with, because there's so many areas of law. Even within my area of law,
Hmm.
there's subsets
Right.
of that
Right.
area. So if you're not talking to your insurance team and making sure that you are covered, you're leaving
Hmm.
potentially
Hmm.
a big part of you exposed.
Right. And then what happens is, I mean, you're footing the bill.
Yeah.
And also something that I think maybe attorneys may not understand is that this insurance also pays for your defense. And you guys know how expensive
Yeah.
your fees
Yeah.
are.
Yep.
So, I mean,
Yep.
even to have your own defense team working for you, you know, not having to pay out of pocket per hour, all that stuff. It's not just the damages part. Like if you were found negligent, listen, mistakes happen. There's
Yeah.
people that can make
Yeah.
real
We're
mistakes.
human.
Sure.
We're all human.
So even that, right? Like transferring just the risk, especially when you have multiple team members, right? Where you're not the
Yeah.
one doing all the work and you're finally accepting that you need to delegate, you need to hire. You want to make sure that you have a buffer, a layer of protection, you know, in case mistakes arise.
Yeah. I think that's two things are coming up for me. One, I kind of mentioned this earlier. We talked about it, but wealth building. I
Hmm.
think you have your toolbox, right? So you have, you go to law school, you got your JD, you pass the bar, so you have the knowledge and the designation, and then you get the experience, and then
Hmm.
you get your money and you put it in your retirement accounts and you invest it, and maybe you buy a house, and then maybe you start investing in whatever it is. You set yourself up for all of these things. But for all your knowledge, your business, and the property that you have, like if all of those things are not fully
Hmm.
protected to the best of your ability and in the way that makes the most economic sense, you're leaving exposure
Hmm.
at various
Hmm.
points along the way. And it's not wise. It's just not
No,
wise.
no. And insurance kind of acts like that mesh, right? Like it fills the gaps.
Yeah.
You can have money in your retirement, you can have money in the savings, you can own properties and all that stuff. But then it's like, well, have insurance be the blanket that covers all of those, you know, to create a
Yeah.
buffer from the
Yeah.
public
Yeah.
and your assets
Yeah.
from the business and the personal side. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then the second thing that comes up, because I know a lot of listeners, they're building law firms, they're scaling, they're growing, but there is that fear. Most of us are very type A. It's
Hmm.
hard for us to let go. And a lot of that is because we could potentially have malpractice issues
Hmm.
if we don't supervise our team
Hmm.
adequately and they do something that or we do something that something happens. Or you might just even get sued if you didn't
I
do
was
the
going to
wrong
say,
thing.
but how many times? I mean, look at where we live.
Yeah.
It's lawsuit central. I
Yeah.
mean, you could do
Literally.
everything right and still have to prove that you did it right, and
Right.
that costs you money, headspace,
Right.
energy.
Right.
So even in the best case scenario where you didn't make a mistake, but you're alleged you did,
Yeah.
why do you want to deal with that or finance that
Yeah.
when you can just transfer that off to someone else?
No, I agree. And I think for those who are scaling, I think it's just that mindset piece of, okay, I have protection. I'm
Sure.
doing everything I can. So I still obviously need to vet my team. I need to make sure I'm
Yeah.
hiring the right people. But it's that peace of mind. You
Yep.
sleep better at night knowing
Hmm.
that you have, protected yourself as best as you
As best as you
possibly
can. It's not
as best.
100%.
Yep. Yep.
Everything is not covered.
Yep.
But also you'll know what's not covered, right? Where it's like
Yeah.
that's why that risk assessment of your business and your life, really.
Yeah.
If you know that these areas are not covered, you prepare for it.
Yeah. Are there any, I mean, we know obviously just like blanket malpractice insurance, but are there different tiers? Are there non-negotiables that lawyers should think about when
Yeah.
they're looking at coverage?
So you can absolutely, yeah, there's different limits. You can buy, you know, different up to 1 million, 2 million, you know, there's that layer. But a couple of key things, for example, you want your defense outside of the limits. So if you have $1 million in coverage, the policy naturally is issued this way. You see, and so if you're buying it online, you don't know that you'd have to
Mm.
ask for it. So if
Mm.
you work with someone like me or an independent agent, they're aware of this. So if you have $1 million of a limit, your defense and any damages that were to be paid share that $1 million.
Mm.
You want to get your defense outside of that limit. So it's an extra
Wow.
bucket on the outside.
Yeah.
So you have your defense and then the damages, it's going to cost you a couple bucks more, but worth it. You have a
Yeah.
million for your defense and a million if you're really messed up and they're going to pay someone $1 million for your error.
Yeah.
Right. So something like that, very simple. You want to make sure your retroactive date is correct for the life of your career in law and your business. You want to maintain that retroactive date because these claims in your space, it's not like a hurricane comes and we know the claim is happening. You're turning in the claim tomorrow.
Right. Right.
It
You
could
have
take
no idea.
months and years to realize somebody made a mistake or someone is going to allege that you made a mistake in a year.
Mm-hmm.
So that retroactive date, you always need to have that in place. And for the cyber, you have to have cyber. It is non-negotiable. It really is. I mean,
Wow.
it's getting scarier and scarier what these criminals are doing. And that's something that most small businesses will not survive.
Yeah.
And especially specifically with ransomware, if you come into work and you turn on your computer, your laptop or shut down, says you owe me $250,000 to get your data back. Most people don't know you have to call the FBI. You cannot negotiate with the terrorist.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who knows that? What average business owner knows what to do in that scenario?
Right.
You have to, by law, you have to notify the people affected for a certain amount of years, offer credit monitoring. What about your reputation? Attorneys, insurance, we're trusted professionals.
Wow.
How are you going to notify the affected parties? How are you going to grow your business after the public has to know that you were the victim of a cyber attack?
Yeah.
You get a PR firm, and cyber insurance pays for these things.
Wow. Yeah, that was going to be my next question. So let's say that happens. You call the FBI and now you have all the steps that you need to take. Who does what role?
Yeah.
What
So you have a team assigned to you. So you call the insurance carrier, right?
Yeah.
And they have the professionals on their claims team to
Wow.
mitigate, and they're going to decide if they pay the ransom. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So but they have their database. They know.
So the insurance company potentially will pay out the ransom to get your
to get the
access
data back.
back.
Yeah. But
Wow.
here's why it's critical, for example, that you back up your data. What's your backup plan? Because if you, let's say today, that happened to us today, right? You turned on our computers, there's a ransom, you owe me 250 grand to get your data back. If I backed up my data on Wednesday, kick rocks. I don't need my data back.
Right.
I only lost a day of data.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's those strategies, those SOPs, the cyber hygiene that a business needs to have in place. Who's helping you do that?
Yeah.
Right. So
That's good.
if I backed up my data last week, kick rocks. I don't need 4 days of data.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll try to get it another
Yeah.
way. So there's all those. It's so complicated, and your
Yeah.
job is to practice law.
Yeah.
Not know these things, right? So it's like that's why you have the blanket and the safety of insurance.
Wow. That was really good. And
Yeah.
I feel like everyone needs to go check their policies right now, see if they have cyber, see what their retroactive date is, see what their coverage is. Does it cover your defense or do you have a separate bucket? And just, this is, we're in the beginning of the year. This is the perfect time. Take a look. I have one other technical question. So if someone is starting their own law firm, do they get the insurance prior to the start date of the firm? Like, how does that what's the best practice for that retroactive
So
date?
the retroactive date, if you don't have one already, it's going to be the inception date of the policy.
Okay.
So if we make the policy effective 3/1, that's when your coverage will trigger, and it will be 3/1 forever unless you have a lapse, unless you close the firm, things like that. But it's you might be filing your paperwork on Sunbiz or getting the wheels in motion. But I would say don't take on a case or offer advice without having that retroactive date in place.
How many lawyers do you think don't have this type of insurance, especially malpractice?
It's shocking to me the amount that I've seen. I couldn't give you a percentage, but what I have realized, which is kind of why I realized that this is a space where I could actually solve a problem. It's not because they're cheap or they don't think it's important. It's because they didn't know. They didn't realize that their prior acts would not be covered without having it in place. So then I have that conversation and they're like, wait, you mean the last year and a half, I don't have any coverage? Yeah. And if the case started before the retroactive date, before that effective date, they're not going to pay for a claim.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of the reasons why I decided to focus on like the space of the big law attorney leaving, because if they don't know,
Yeah.
they don't know what they don't know. And so it's like, if I could come in and offer that support and help them get started, I feel like I'm so excited to help women. It's mainly women. I've met one man that told me he got tired of big law.
Yeah.
And he wanted to leave, but it's mainly women. And so I feel like it's exciting to help women start their business. They're so scared, which is also, I don't know if you guys know this, but to the outside world, like, you guys are fearless. Women attorneys you guys don't get rattled. And so what I'm realizing is like, oh, they're just like me.
Oh yeah. We're all the same.
Yeah. But it doesn't, you're not
same.
perceived that way.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting, because we're so in it. So I have no idea.
Right. But I feel like, so what I've seen is
I have fear all the time, just so you know.
What I've seen is like, oh, wait, they need my help. They don't know.
Yeah.
You also just assume you guys know everything.
Yeah. No.
There's
a lot I don't know.
Yeah.
The older I get, the more I realize there's a lot I don't know.
Right.
So that's why I rely on my team and professionals to help me, because I know what I know really, really well.
And that's your job.
Yeah.
Your job is to be an expert at one thing.
Yeah.
And I think that that's also one of the things that has helped me build the bunker well is the professionals that I've insulated myself and my clients with, because I don't know a lot, but I know the right questions to ask, so I can make the right introduction for you. Yeah. So that's also something I'm pretty good at.
Yeah, you're really good at that. You're really good at that. Oh my gosh, this has been amazing.
I can talk to you forever.
Forever. No, this was so good. You've made me think about a lot of things too, and just, I appreciate you sharing the wisdom, because I think this topic doesn't always feel sexy, but it really is so important for that peace of mind, for protecting yourself, protecting the longevity of your business and of your career. And just, it's all part of that. I'm so big on the team. We all need the team around us, in professional and personal, so we can be successful, so we can continue to build, so we can have that dream exit that actually becomes the real, whether it's an exit or just scaling, that actually we can bring that dream to life, because we can all do it. You know, it's first having the dream and then taking the action. So,
and part of that too is also, to your point, it's like, if you have that big dream, you got to protect it.
Yeah.
You got to protect it, because there's outside forces, whether they're nature or anything, just there's an element of protection of that, little baby. That's our businesses that we have to do.
I agree. I mean, I think about this all day,
every day,
literally.
You're helping people with this.
And I see what happens when they don't.
It's devastating.
It is.
It's devastating to know that because someone wasn't asked the right question, or because they didn't know any better, they lost it all.
Yeah.
When they risked it all. That's, I feel like I'm called to like help people not have that happen.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine what you've gone through for it to be taken away because of an email. What do you mean? No, that's wild.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. So yeah, I think it's, and you're in that space all the time of helping people post not having things in order.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, this was so good. I so appreciate you and your wisdom and your time. Always the best conversations.
Always.
Where can everyone find out more about you? And if they just want to like contact you to get more info and maybe check out what they have now.
Yeah,
absolutely. They're like, oh shit, what's my retroactive date? What's my coverage?
Don't check it while you're driving. No, so bunkeryourrisk.com is my website. And on Instagram, I'm at bunkeryourrisk. And I'm on LinkedIn. My first and last name is Ciara Gravier, and I'm happy to help. And I love the space. Thank you for having me on. I love what you're doing in your space, and it's important work that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. This is great.
Oh, amazing. And thank you everyone for listening. This has been a great conversation, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Legal and Wealthy. If today's episode sparked something in you, take it one step further. Share it, leave a review, or come connect with me inside the Legal and Wealthy community. Remember, wealth isn't just about the numbers. It's about how you lead, how you live, and how you build beyond the billable. You already have what it takes to create real freedom and wealth. I'm just here to help you claim it.